I'm News 19 meteorologist Brianna Mowry, and we are continuing to track the tropics as Tropical Storm Debby continues to approach the South Carolina coast ahead of a second landfall overnight tonight. But looking ahead at tomorrow, we are going to continue to see those threats from Tropical Storm Debby, and that's really now until tomorrow evening. That impact being the very windy conditions, more rainfall expected on top of what we've already seen yesterday and today. And so because of that, it's best to stay off the road, stay home if possible, especially if we're in one of those heavy downpours or one of those heavy rain bands. It's safest just to not drive in that at all, especially in the dark, because it's hard to see water in roadways. It's hard to tell how deep that water is unless you're already in it, and it doesn't take much to lift your vehicle and cause those issues. So more things you need to know: don't drive again, walk through those flooded areas. We could have debris in that water as well that you're not sure is there, and have a plan in case if you're told to evacuate, or if you need to do it immediately. Have those important paperwork and documents with you. Grab the pets and anything you can carry with you, and stay away from those downed power lines, especially with the flood waters, and just avoid contact with those flood waters if possible, especially with those downed power lines, because if power is still surging through them in that water, it causes the threat of getting electrocuted, and that's just a very dangerous situation. So right now, Debby's still off the South Carolina coast, seeing lots of rainfall swirling into the Carolinas though from Debby, and still moving very slow, 3 miles per hour due north. So it's taking its time to make that second landfall, which will be overnight tonight. But in the meantime, still plenty of rainfall pushing into the Carolinas. So here's that expected track of Debby right now, just off the coast. But overnight tonight, we will see a second landfall. Tropical storm warnings in place up and down the South Carolina and parts of the North Carolina coast. Through the day tomorrow, we will see Debby push to the north, and things will begin to improve into Friday and into the weekend for us here in the Midlands. Right now, we can see where that heavy rain is. Sumter getting plenty of that rainfall. One of those bands just moved through not too long ago. St. Matthews getting some. Orangeburg getting more as well. And those are areas that got hit pretty hard earlier in the day today. And we are going to continue to see that rain slowly shift to the west. And we will be getting more of that rain in the central Midlands through the overnight hours tonight. And then the eastern Midlands or the western Midlands could get some of that rainfall as well. So still under that flood watch, and that's until 8 o'clock Friday morning. So that's for a lot of South Carolina, the Midlands and off toward the coast in that flood watch, and we still have a couple of days to go in that. For those tropical advisories, tropical storm warnings up and down the South Carolina coast, 2 counties have actually been added to that. Florence County and Marion County most recently added to those tropical storm warnings as Debby pushes to the north. Slowly, but is moving to the north. So for that outlook for severe or excessive rainfall outlook, still tonight going into our day tomorrow, in that most of us in that slight risk for rainfall or highs or moderate, in the red. So that leads to the potential for some flooding. The very far eastern Midlands in that pink color, high risk for flooding, and the far western Midlands, things are looking okay for you if you're in Saluda or Newberry tonight, but still dealing with some of those wind gusts and breezy conditions. Looking ahead at tomorrow, going into early Friday morning, we're back in that slight to moderate flood risk again, and that's for the entire Midlands tomorrow. So Saluda and Newberry, you are included in this as well going into Thursday for that chance of, or that threat for flooding. And then by Friday, everyone's still seeing that risk for flooding, although it is lower, back at a marginal. This is going the right way. This is good news. And of course, by Saturday, we are not seeing threats for flooding. So things are definitely going to start improving as we get into the end of the week. We just have to get there and get through the next couple of days before we see that improvement. But here at News 19, we are going to continue to keep things updated. We're going to continue to keep you updated as well on our app and online. So for that rainfall forecast, this is our in-house model, expecting another, for the western Midlands, we could see a little bit of showers, an inch or so of rain for our western Midlands, central Midlands, another inch or two, maybe 3 inches in places. And then the eastern Midlands, we could see another 5-6 inches of rain between now and really the end of the week. So we're going to still see significant rainfall amounts. This is the rainfall forecast from the Weather Prediction Center. Not too far different from our in-house model. Still going to see 4 or 5, maybe 6 inches in the far eastern Midlands. Going into the central Midlands, we could still see 2 to 4 inches of rain, and then an inch or 2 to the far western Midlands through the rest of the week. Still tracking that chance for wind. So this is statewide, that wind chance very high along the coast. But as you see, moving further inland, our chances do get lower, but that chance for those wind gusts does stick around through Friday morning and even into part of Friday. So that is something to keep in mind. With the ground so saturated from all the rain we've seen, it doesn't take a whole lot of wind to start causing some problems, especially some of those weaker trees. They could come down. We've already seen lots of trees coming down. Looking closer at the Midlands, that tropical storm wind chance going into Thursday morning, really overnight tonight early. Most of us will be sleeping. Still pretty low. That does go up a little bit for the day on Friday, but still relatively low. A little higher for our far eastern Midlands, especially in Clarendon County and eastern Orangeburg. That's something to watch out for, but we're all going to be dealing with those wind gusts throughout the rest of the week. So we're still seeing upwards of 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts through tomorrow morning, and that continues through the day tomorrow, but we could get a little bit of some weaker wind speeds going into the evening tomorrow, as we could see upwards of 20 to 30. So it goes down a little bit, but still some significant wind gusts going into Friday morning through the overnight hours. Looking a little bit better. Wind speeds do shift coming out of the southwest. So as Debbie does push to the north, the wind speeds and direction will change, and it does get a little weaker going into Friday morning. We're seeing that shift continue and weaken, and we'll see wind speeds gusting back down the single digits for many by the afternoon on Friday. So definitely going to be some improvement by the end of the day on Friday. Tonight, temperature is going to still see in the low 80s, so still pretty warm out there. Not much heating and cooling able to take place, but tomorrow, or actually tonight, excuse me, we will see a little bit of cooling taking place in the low to mid 70s. Not much movement as far as those temperatures go because of all the rain in the clouds. So if there's one good thing, it is that we are seeing some relief from all the heat that we've had recently, but we are getting some flooding and rain, and that's not what we want. So looking ahead to the next 7 days, we are going to continue to see heavy rainfall overnight tonight into our Friday, but looking ahead at the rest of the week, we are going to see temperatures going back up as we get some more of that sunshine back in the low 90s, even into the weekend. We will look a lot drier by Saturday, and that's some great news. But going in through next week, we could still see some chances for some isolated showers and storms in those evening hours, but certainly not as widespread as we're seeing now from Tropical Storm Debby. So temperatures still staying in the low 90s through the start of the week and into the middle of next week. That chance lingering about 30% for those showers and storms. But until then, we have to get through the next couple of days. We still have a weather impact alert day issued for tomorrow night, and into Friday morning. We'll keep you updated here at News 19 online, on air, and on our app to bring you the latest as Tropical Storm Debby makes an impact in South Carolina.